Thanks to you.
It's not AI as well. So.
This does look AI, actually.
So, our story begins when the Tuatha De Danann arrive on the shores of Ireland. Apparently, they appeared in a mist on great ships, and as soon as they landed, they burnt their ships as a commitment to staying in Ireland. At this time, Ireland was inhabited by beings called the Firbolg. The Firbolg refused to leave, and a great war broke out. And although the king of the Tuatha De Danann, Nuada, lost his arm, they were ultimately victorious over the Firbolg and claimed Ireland.
It's a good story.
But the fighting was not over yet. A group of beings called the Fomorians emerged from the sea and laid their claim upon Ireland. Many of the Fomorians were beautiful and powerful, just like the Tuatha De, but others of them were grotesque monsters, some of which grew to unimaginable size. One of these titanesque Fomorians was their leader, Balor. Balor had only one eye, and due to his mighty size, it could only be opened through a series of chains and pulleys that had to be operated by 10 Fomorians. You may be wondering at this point why Balor's eye is so important in this story. Well, when Balor was a boy and a much more reasonable size, he spied upon the dark druids conjuring a potion. As he approached them, a single drop spat out of the cauldron, and it landed right in Balor's single eye. The potion was the elixir of death, and from that day on, any being that Balor would look upon would instantly die. As with his size, this curse grew over time and became a devastating weapon, as Balor could kill hundreds of men with just one glance. Balor sent Fomorian raiders to attack Ireland, and there was little the Tuatha De Danann could do. The Fomorians would attack, they would pillage, and they would flee back to Tory Island, where Balor had a crystal tower on a fortress. This was smoother when I tried it at home. When the Tuatha De sent ships after them, Balor would simply look down from the top of his tower and send out a bolt of death, killing everyone aboard the ships. The Fomorian raids continued. Balor and his army would demand a third of everything. A third of all the harvests, a third of all the livestock, and a third of every child born. A third of the children, not a... They weren't
Not the
cutting
legs.
up.
Yeah, it's just the legs.
Balor was so sure of himself and his invulnerability that he had his druids transform him into a red-headed boy. He did this so that he could sneak upon the Irish shore and steal a mystical cow. Glas Gavenon, whose milk never stopped and whose milk seeped into the Milky Way, forming the very cosmos. Now, this cow belonged to a very handsome young prince of the Tuatha De named Cian. Ignore the gap. I wanted to fill it more. Don't look at the brown paper, look at what I've drawn. Cian, handsome young prince. Cian swore that he would go to Tory Island, breach Balor's crystal tower, and get his prized cow back. But first, Cian would have to assume a disguise. He sought the help of a witch who lived on the sandy shores. This witch transformed Cian into a woman.
Yay.
It is now that you're wondering, why did Cian have to be transformed into a woman? Well, years before all of this, when Balor, one of Balor's wisest druids, had a vision that Balor could only be killed by his own grandson. Balor only had one child, the beautiful Ethlyn. He chose to lock her away in his crystal tower and have no men freely roam there. Ethlyn was attended by 12 ladies' maids, who were told not to speak to Ethlyn of anything concerning men. And although they did this, the young Fomorian dreamed night after night of the same handsome man. So now that Cian was appropriately disguised, he needed to get to the crystal stronghold. He enlisted the help of a fairy whose form was that of a great gust of wind. The fairy wind scooped up Cian and carried him straight to the tower. Cian searched the fortress for his cow, but he could not find her. He did, however, find the bedchamber of Princess Ethlyn. And as soon as they locked eyes, his magical disguise disappeared, and Ethlyn found herself staring at the very handsome man she had been dreaming of for years. They shared a night of passion, and Cian left the crystal fortress without his cow. But 9 months later, a baby was born. And before the baby could even take his first breath, Balor scooped him up and threw him from the top of his crystal tower to die in the sea below. But the baby did not die. He was also scooped up by the very fairy wind that carried his father, and he was brought to the shores of Ireland. Lugh was raised by many, many foster parents and taught many, many skills. By the time Lugh had grown to adulthood, he was the most skilled of all the Tuatha De, and was especially gifted with his spear and his slingshot. It was at this time that Balor, no longer satisfied with the third he was taking, wished to take all of Ireland. So he gathered his Fomorian forces, remember they're monsters, that's why they look like this, and marched upon the mainland.
Like the fishmen.
But they were met on the beach by the full force of the Tuatha De Danann. The might of the great Fomorians was met with the skill, force, and magic of the Tuatha De. Balor, without opening his eye, for fear it may kill his own people, struck King Nuada, decapitating him. As the Tuatha De witnessed their noble leader struck down, they began to lose hope. But it was then that Lugh stepped forward and began to goad and insult his one-eyed grandfather. The taunts and insults that Lugh hurled enraged Balor, so much so that he called for his men to hold open his eye so he could watch this little gobshite die. But as soon as Balor's eye opened even slightly, Lugh let off a single shot from his sling, and as the stone flew up and up and up, it went into Balor's eye with such force that his eye blew out the back of his head and landed among his Fomorian forces, killing thousands of them. Ooh. The battle was won. The remaining Fomorians were few, and they fled. And the Tuatha De raised up Lugh as their king. The end.
I feel so informed, yet so entertained.